I awaken in terror. There's no one left to stand against them.
Diablo 4 was just announced at Blizzcon, and if you're behind on what to expect from the game, I'm here to keep you informed with 10 things you need to know about Diablo 4.
Hell is coming, brother. Hell is coming.
You haven't failed, old man. You've done exactly as you were meant to do. However, I am not the Archangel Tyrael.
Much to fans' chagrin, Diablo 3 was a departure from the realistic, gritty and gothic signature aesthetic that helped make Diablo 1 and 2 so renowned with fans. Reportedly, Diablo 4 is aiming to harken back to Diablo 2 in art direction, and that many at Blizzard felt that Diablo 3 had drifted away from former titles in its art style and spell effects. Diablo 4's project design director Luis Barriga echoed the sentiment, stating one of Diablo 4's design pillars is "Embrace the Darkness." This thankfully has resulted in the series going back to its roots and getting rid of anything that was considered cartoony in Diablo 3.
You have done well, Marius. Now I think you shall have your reward.
I don't deserve.
The entirety of Diablo 2 was predicated upon being $1 a day late and $1 short. And we basically want to encapsulate that feeling, put it in a bottle, and just create a whole world with that sense. So yeah, it's in the art, it's in the gameplay, it's in the world, and in the stories we tell.
For those of you confused about how a Diablo game will work without the Lord of Terror front and center, the official plot excerpt clarifies this somewhat, saying, after the events of Diablo 3, which saw the defeat of the Primeval and the fall of Malthael, Angel of Death, Diablo 4 takes place many years after the events of Diablo 3, after millions have been slaughtered by the actions of the high heavens and burning hells alike. In the power vacuum, a legendary name resurfaces: Lilith, daughter of Mephisto, the whispered progenitor of humanity. Burning urges in the hearts of those around her, be it demon, human, or beast. Profound fears, unchecked rage, repressed impulses, sinful desires. All are brought forth violently and irresistibly by her mere presence, which I've done a video on her full backstory if you want to check it out. Lilith's grip on Sanctuary cuts deep into the hearts of men and women alike, cultivating the worst in its denizens and leaving the world a dark, hopeless place. Chaos threatens to consume Sanctuary as evil and impiety continue to spread. Depraved demons and corrupted wildlife roam the land unchecked as terrified townsfolk huddle in dark corners trying to survive one more day. The pious plead for guidance from their faith, but doubts have them feeling that their devotion is misplaced. Lilith's return has spawned a new wave of cultists and worshippers, but regardless of dogma, all prayers remain unanswered. As darkness returns to Sanctuary, a brave few dare to face this threat. But what fate awaits them in a land forsaken by hope, valor, wisdom, and justice?
And then with stories, you heard me talk about how victories aren't clean or guaranteed. This means that sometimes evil wins. After all, this is the IP where you get sent to save the child Albrecht in the first Diablo, and guess what? There's no saving him. We're making an open world with a non-linear campaign so that you can be in charge of how you decide to level. If you're the type of player that wants to take breaks between the story and do some of the repeatable content, explore a little bit, do side content, stuff like that, great. If you're the type of player that wants to experience the story uninterrupted, you can still do that. So not only can you customize who your character is, you can customize their experience in Sanctuary.
Diablo 4 utilizes an open world structure with 5 unique regions. These are the home of the Druids, Skosglen, which is described as untamed lands of Skosglen are as verdant as they are deadly. Those who get lost in the woods seldom return, their screams muted by spine-chilling howls. The Druids who dwell here will do anything to protect their way of life, including risking the loss of their humanity to unleash the beast within. The fractured peaks, rocky mountainous surroundings have kept most visitors away from this frozen landscape. Devout monks seeking refuge in the isolation of the peaks find enlightenment, blissfully ignorant of the horrors lurking beneath the crags. The dry steppes. In the dry steppes, lives are worth less than water. Rugged barbarians, ruthless mercenaries, and cannibalistic blood mages fight for survival in the harsh and unforgiving salt flats that only the most hardy or desperate call home. The swamplands of Hawazar, poison, disease, and despair spread over this region like mold, growing and infecting everything within. Hawazar is a deadly land even to those familiar with its tortuous and torturous paths. Witches intone long-forgotten curses within the swamps, and only those who deal in death or wish to find it willingly come here. And the previously visited Kyrgyzstan, although specifically its northern desert region. Countless wars and demonic invasions have left what was once a bastion of civilization in ruins. Though evil still stirs beneath the desert sands, the people who live here used to enjoy opulence and luxuries. Now they face fear and paranoia as cultists work in the shadows to unearth ancient evils.
To kind of give you guys a taste of that openness, and it was really transformative. That was a moment where we learned a lot about how the game could be played and where we saw how you guys were approaching Diablo. So based on those learnings, we are making Diablo 4 open from the ground up.
And there will still be waypoints to travel around because we think that's really core to the fantasy of Sanctuary. With so much world to explore, we saw the opportunity to add a new feature, and that is mounts.
Players are able to use mounts to traverse across these lands and long distances, and are key in Diablo 4 due to the sprawling nature of the game. However, if WoW is anything to go by, I think it's safe to say the mounts in the gameplay demo are fairly generic and tame looking compared to endgame mounts we're gonna see.
So we took a very Diablo approach to this feature, both thematically and from a gameplay perspective. So taking a look at this concept art right here, you'll be able to swap out the armor pieces, change the saddle, change, what's another? Armor?
Horseshoes.
Horse armor, and maybe swap out that fallen head for a different trophy. And not only does this add, aesthetic customization, but it also changes the gameplay. So if you're in PvP, and you're running away from a sorceress that's turned hostile on you, you may want to equip some items that decrease the damage that you take on a mount, or maybe make your mount go a little bit faster so you can outrun that firewall or outrun that blizzard. And keep your ears for another day.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
No.
Diablo 4 comes hot off the heels of Diablo Immortal's fumble, and while it originally went in development in 2014, then got scrapped and rebooted in 2016, the infamous Blizzard polish will likely be present. We aren't even close to getting a solid release date. According to game director Luis Barriga, he said,
Very, very early first step. We're not coming out soon, not even Blizzard soon.
You can probably put the 2020 dates to bed.
Hell is coming.
We agree, and we're offering levels of customization in Diablo 4 more than we've ever had before, and allow you to make that barbarian of your dreams, that druid of your dreams. And this is just a few options that we have here today in our demo to kind of show you what appearances look like.
As Diablo 4 is basically an MMO, it'd be weird to see the exact same character over and over en masse. To tackle this, character customization has been implemented to have your own unique look with an array of display aesthetics that can be changed.
And then these are some concepts of also where we're going with this. We really want to give you like kind of like a template, and you can build on that fantasy however you want. So if you want to customize the hair, the skin, the jewelry, the scars, the tattoos, those kinds of things. And we really wanted to, like, we have a lot of these that we're planning.
All right, but it's not just the appearance. Customization is at the core of Diablo. And what I mean by that is gameplay customization. And customization is back with a vengeance. We're bringing back some ideas and new ideas that we've become inspired from previous games. So we have super happy. We're a little nervous. They're like, they're gonna like it. Yeah. So we have a trifecta of customization options with talent trees, with skill ranks, and with rune words. Rune words especially, we've taken inspiration from Diablo 2 and given it a fresh new interpretation. You'll get to hear all about it in our systems and feature panel tomorrow, or if you check it out on the demo. We have 3 classes, our first 3 classes. We're gonna have 5 when we ship.
Although we know officially there will be 5 classes at launch, 2 of which still remain a mystery, we have a confirm of the Barbarian, the Sorcerer, and Diablo 2 favorite, the Druid's confirmed return. Each had a spotlight at Blizzcon 2019, which I will highlight key footage of. Starting with the Druid.
So one of the things that we said is like, hey, we love the idea of the Druid. How do we move it forward? One of the things that we did is we took some of that fire magic that didn't feel like it met the fantasy of being someone in tune with nature, and we replaced it with storm magic and earth magic, and we feel pretty great about that, and we have it in the demo if you guys want to check it out. We kept his nature companions, like the wolves, the ravens, the vines, all of that. And then the thing that we feel is the kind of the special sauce is he's always been able to be this master shapeshifter. He can turn into a werebear, he can turn into a werewolf, and you know, it was pretty cool. You'd be a bear and spam shockwave. That was pretty awesome. But we decided to move that forward with Diablo 4, and now we have something we call seamless shapeshifting. What that means, if you truly want to embrace the hybrid nature of the class, you can start an attack in one form, and you'll begin animating as smooth and fluid as the Diablo 3 combat you've enjoyed so far. We're leveling that up. So mid-swing, you will transform into the correct form. So you'll press that button for a werewolf attack, you'll start animating caster form, finish it in werewolf form. If you're surrounded by enemies, you can conjure up a boulder, push those enemies away, and then turn back into a werebear. But enough of me talking, let's see that stuff in action. Send your pets in, summon up some storm magic. Boom.
Yeah.
And don't worry if you've got a preferred form, you can just assign all your buttons to that form and just be a bear all the time if that's your druid fantasy.
And of course, Cataclysm just wrecks the battlefield.
Master of nature magic right there.
The Sorceress, the Sorcerer is back. She is elemental carnage on the battlefield, whether it's chilling enemies and smashing with a fireball or transforming into a chaotic ball of lightning and just completely destroying the battlefield, teleporting around and just wreaking havoc. She is an unstoppable wrecking machine, wading through the hordes of monsters with the power of elemental magic. In the dark, oppressive world of Sanctuary, the Sorcerer lights up our dungeons. Like when we say we're returning to darkness, our dungeons are really dark. And the Sorceress lights it up in an amazing, fantastic way with our new engine and our new tech. And we're going to take a look right now.
I love that in addition to bringing the light show, gameplay-wise, you feel like a dungeon boss when you play a Sorceress. She has basically control over the battlefield with abilities like Blizzard, like Firewall, that basically make you feel like you are doing area of denial attacks on enemies. It's really cool.
So barbarians are the embodiment of visceral, brutal combat that's just so core to Diablo. So in reimagining this class for Diablo 4, we drew upon classical barbarian imagery as well as art from our own past. So one common theme that kept cropping up was the physicality of these warriors and how armed to the teeth they are with weaponry. Every time you take a look at a picture of a barbarian. They've got axes, swords, polearms, as many weapons as they can carry. And we really love this fantasy for this class, and with that in mind, we've added the arsenal system. So the barbarian in Diablo 4 will have 4 weapon slots and be able to use both one-handed and two-handed weapons in the same build. And I'm so excited about this level of customization and being able to equip 4 legendary items at the same time.
Yeah, it's pretty much every barbarian's fantasy to finally see that arsenal that you're used to seeing on like those classic barbarian paintings come to life.
So you'll actually be able to assign items to each skill slot to add yet another layer of customization, and depending on what skill you use, the barbarian will automatically pull out the weapon that he or she needs, so combat will continue to be seamless on the battlefield. So we're carrying forward Fury to power the aggressive, physical, fast-paced attacks of the barbarian, but they'll also continue to pull the ancient magic of their ancestors to give them all that strength in combat on the battlefield. So let's take a look at the barbarian in action and some art. All right, wait for it. You know what he's gonna do.
Yeah! Like almost a hammer down moment.
As a barbarian player, I love that the team's taking some of the things that were formerly elemental magic, and now it's just more blood.
Yeah, I think this is like every barbarian painting that I grew up with come to life, where it's just like, you know, wading into the crowd of enemies and just wreaking havoc.
I have literally 1,000 questions, and I think we have very limited time.
Blizzard's official description of the game boasts, Diablo 4, the newest incarnation of Blizzard Entertainment's genre-defining action role-playing franchise, returns with dark, visceral gameplay, robust customization, deep loot, and infinite adventures. But how does infinite adventures work? Well, lead designer Joe Shelley tackles this with Quinn69 at Blizzcon during a livestream, talking about world bosses and a new feature called Key Dungeons for endgame players.
Key dungeons are going to be an activity. Key dungeons are inspired by Greater Rifts.
So you're saying like key dungeons is like, so you're saying GRs when you say key dungeon?
They're inspired by Greater Rifts, but it's a different system. And there'll be additional activities beyond that we haven't announced.
These key dungeons,
yes,
are they going to be infinitely scaling?
They will scale, I don't know if they'll infinitely scale, but they'll scale to an extent that there's no concern about reaching the maximum. Yeah.
Oh, what? Okay.
So the way that this works is we have, in the world, there are hundreds of dungeons, and you can experience them at different levels, leveling up and so forth. At max level, you can get a key, and that key will be for a specific dungeon. So let's say Garenhold from the demo.
Okay.
The key, when used, transforms Garenhold for you and your party, if you choose to go in with a party, into a max level dungeon, and it has a rank on it.
Oh.
Somewhat similar to Greater Rifts, and that rank can increase and increases the difficulty of the dungeon.
Okay. So what max level? What's max level?
The max level, we don't know for sure yet.
Question mark.
It's 40 right now.
40 right now.
It could change. I mean, we have a long way to go.
Okay.
You might be wondering, why do I want to look for a group? Well, as you're exploring the open world, you'll come across world events. And our druid here is going to come up on one in a second. And you may not want to fight these events alone because they're a little bit tougher experiences, which I think is pretty exciting.
Yeah, we have a lot of endgame to build. We want when you reach endgame for you to participate in a variety of different activities. So the world boss Shava is one activity that you might.
I haven't done it yet, but
yeah, it's available in the demo. It's the first time you've been able to play, bring many people together to take down a single monster, a single boss, and it's so big that we have to pull the camera out a little bit to do it.
On the world, oh my god. Okay, so world bosses.
Well, let me say that. So we want to have a variety of activities. The world boss is one activity.
All right, here we go. So this was in the game trailer. This is Ashava. This is in our demo. I'm curious how many people Ashava is going to murder this weekend.
Anybody want to venture a guess? I'm guessing thousands, maybe. Everybody.
Everybody.
I like that.
Everybody
yeah,
here, yes.
Probably everyone that plays a demo is going to die to this. So, you know, you can group up with other people. You'll be running around the world. You'll come across other players, and they'll be able to help you defeat this demon and get some awesome loot. That's why we fight demons, right? So I know what you're thinking. What if I don't really want to play with other people? Well, there will be areas of Sanctuary where players can opt into PvP, so you can just murder them instead.